pretty solid position. This is such a hard angle to clear out for the T's. Op still in play. They drop it down. NATO finds the first. Nico down to 38 HP. He's going to need to find an immediate return here. And misses the shot. Oh, well played out by Heroic. He finally go back up into the lead once more. On the side of OpTic, they're going to have to make a decision here whether or not they want to buy into this. See, as a tag, and yeah, I think he gets the second frag simply because they're not quite ready for him to still be at the steps after the Molotov. It's just a little bit long. You can see them taking full advantage of it. Here we go, and it's not going to be the investment from OpTic, at least not full one. You see a couple of deagles in there, but Refresh and Tessis config sitting at clocks.
Blimef for some more. He'll get 2 headshots. He'll fall to the deagle of Nico. And Freiburg, he's going to replace his teammate this time. Oh, so unfortunate. Was trying to play the trigger discipline, hoping he can get a little bit more than one, but walks away with nothing. It's kind of like deal or no deal when you get a little bit too greedy and decide to go for the jackpot.
Go no deal. NATO. Not working out for them here. Stabbing with a big rotation. That vent just seems indestructible at this stage. Might as well be. Oh, config. Now with a deagle.
Just these pistols, just so strong in the hands of strong individuals. And so unfortunate here for Heroic. They've got Esatag to try and pull this off. 40 seconds. Refresh. And config still kicking. They start to make their way back over towards lobby, and Esatag's going to bring the fight to them. Lines up the first. That's the headshot. Refresh has no Kevlar. The USP could make this happen as Esatag is dropped into 9 HP. 1 bullet is all he needs, and Refresh hits the headshot. 5-5. The pistols, they get it done for OpTic.
That is not. That was the one round Heroic was meant to have a bit of a freebie in. Finally create some distance between themselves and OpTic, and instead, Deagle Heroics, poorly timed aggression, and a whole lot of other things being the downfall of Heroic. Ooh. It's not what you'd like to see. That started off with Blameth finding 2 kills as well, so it's a 3v4 that just spirals out of control off of, well, somewhat poor decision-making and also great shots on the side of OpTic.
Oh, that's... MSL's missed a couple of these.
He seems so shaky when he goes into just straightforward shots. If it's like a little bit off to the side where he has to flick a little bit, it looks way more secure, but...
He's got that sort of reactionary aim, but can't quite place it exactly where it needs to go, and doesn't really matter this time as he's been dropped early. Headshot coming in. It's the scout of Esatang that'll take him away.
Oh,
down. 1 kill. He will be picked off by Tessis, and it's into a 3v4. Man advantage on the CT side.
Well, let's see if they can keep it this time around.
Certainly not going to be easy with OpTic starting the AKs, but that's a step in the right direction. Blimef with a rifle does take away Tessis. It's all on Nico and Refresh to try and make this happen, and Refresh is just checking above him. It's the angle you've got to be so scared of, and walks on, doesn't meet death immediately. So Bratz, there's no one up there. He will spray away through the smoke. Freiburg does get taken away, and Nico starting to take the fight. What a shot from Esatag. Great headshot on the scout, and that might just be a done deal now as Refresh is only on 22 HP. With 35 seconds left, needs to make the 1v3 happen.
It's almost like a mirror of what happened in the previous round. Although Heroic stand a little bit stronger, having 1 weapon in their hands. Esatag finding the first kill with the scout, but then you see the follow-up. Stavin, right? Trading himself off with the ZZ. That's perfectly fine. Blame F coming in with an M4 that just really does it. It's just that one weapon that starts creating chaos. Nice attack there. You see the second shot that he had under heaven. All the way back from spawn, and OpTic, I'd assume, talking things over here, trying to figure out what went wrong. So far, literally nothing separating these teams. It's quite the crazy start. And I think one thing that's fair to say, both teams had pretty shoddy anti-ecos. If nothing else, obviously we saw OpTic winning the pistol, then not being able to fully commit or capitalize off on that, with Heroic winning the second round on a 4 spy. Now we've had 2 well, eco rounds more or less in a row with limited investment winning it out for each side. So, OpTic going to win this with a limited buy? Is that what we're looking at?
I would not be surprised.
Nope.
No, I definitely would not be surprised. I think they definitely have that in their back pocket. AKs is not, I mean, it's not that bad of a buy, really. I mean, they've got utility.
Yeah.
They've got 3 AKs, a Deagle on Tessus, UMP on Refresh.
Could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, definitely weaknesses, but same could be said about Heroic. I mean, it's not a whole lot of utility on the CT side.
That's very true.
Especially on native Sapphics. There's nothing.
Well, it's going to have to focus on shooting then. As we see the smokes being deployed. Blame is going to be at least in a position where you could hear something if they decide to run down. You can tell that's already been relayed over towards Freiburg. He's going to drop a smoke the second he spots a shoulder. Again, Config's being picked off as he moves down from silo. It's Blame F.
Well, Esatag, he's still holding the angle. It's not being forced away, and if he walks around the corner for some info, he'll get a whole lot of it. Actually, he'll get nothing, but that's info in itself. He'll realize that everyone has fallen away, and there is currently no one there. Either they're done ramp already, or they're back at radio, and Stown is about to realize where they're about to come through as the utility is about to come on in towards the A-bomb side. The door swings wide open, smoke off towards Hut, and Stown has to hold tall. Here comes the first kill. That's the bomb on the floor already. Stown realized that he called rotations from his teammates, and they're all coming through. The kills are in. It's all on MSL and Nico, and it's still a 2v2. Nato Sapphics, oh, the timing. All comes down to timing. If they don't check where he is, this could be perfect. Knows they're both there. The timing is so good for Nato Sapphics. He takes away Nico. MSL into the 1 versus 2 clutch. 5 seconds. Needs to get the bomb planted right now, and they know that. They know he had to commit to it, and BlameF runs in.
Yeah, very well played by Nato. Not getting stressed out, not getting too eager, running up the ladder, making a ton of noise. Finds the bomb carrier as well as he moves up. Great job by Nico there to eventually stabilize things and at least give OpTic a chance within the round. Not enough, though. And with a denial of the bomb plant as well, it's not going to be a buy coming in from OpTic. This would have been a bit of a stretch regardless. We'll see. Might be a chance for Heroic to create a bit of a gap here.
Well, BlameF trying to deal with multiple players at the same time, and he does it well. Pretty awkward, but still gets the 2 kills in the end.
1 HP is plenty.
Yeah.
It's plenty. That's all you need. You just really couldn't decide on a target.
Yeah.
That's a very common, I guess, mishap that a lot of players make where they can't decide on what players to shoot at. I think
Just go for both.
In most scenarios, you're better off just committing to one of them. 100%.
I think the problem here was one of them just kept going behind a wall, so he just kind of had to like keep switching off one of them.
Oh yeah. But I think more often than not, you will die there, not getting a single one if you do that kind of back and forth.
So it's kind of like just commit to one player, at least you get a kill. It's a 1-for-1 instead of trying to be greedy and go for both. But
BlameF again trying to find Config. It's not going to help out this time. And Nico, he's expecting some aggression.
Yeah.
And apparently everyone's running all over the place. Davin's made it way up to the T roof while Nico was moving back towards lobby. Bit of a wild situation.
Freiburg, I had no idea he was there.
Yeah,
So
completely
easy pick up.
undetected. I'm curious if he's happy about that kind of swap. Change
Yeah.
up the MP9 for Galil.
I don't know. MP9 in these close quarters would probably be better. Faster fire rate. Galil, probably better at the long range, but obviously where he is right now, I think I'd rather stick with the MP9.
Well, might have to... well, he's not going to have to deal with short-range duels as of right now, as OpTic has gone back to the upper bomb site. Stavin, still been a bit of a question mark for OpTic as to where he is. Oh, Molotov's going to go behind the vents. That's the right play. Does the smoke fade early enough, though? It doesn't. So he doesn't really know what he's... well, where there were players. He couldn't necessarily prepare for Nico. And Tessus finds Freiburg. I think if there's a little bit more patience from Stavin in that situation, he gets so much more out of his Molotov.
Especially because he can get Freiburg to peek from heaven and check that as well.
Yes, absolutely.
But this was really the start that gave OpTic their chance. Just 2 players running right into Nico's crosshair.
And it's not really, I mean, obviously Heroic are doing it as a part of a pinch maneuver that's meant to be sent towards the towards lobby. That's why you see Stavin already on top of the roof. But for Nico to expect it is really well done, considering we haven't seen any sort of aggression out of Heroic on their CT sides leading up to that point.
Just a good understanding of how the map is played, and Estetig,
well, he knows Config's up there.
yeah, definitely. Problem is, he's got other problems coming towards him. MSL not too far away with that UMP, but has decided to fall back a little bit. Last round of the half, obviously. So everyone investing everything they possibly can. I think this is already a pretty good half from OpTic. You know, 6 is generally always pretty okay on the T side. Yeah. But obviously getting 7, that would be optimal for them.
Yeah. I think OpTic might be a little bit miffed about how they've played out this. They could have obviously had more rounds winning the pistol, not necessarily fluffing the second round and so on.
Yeah.
So there's been options to get more as well. Oh, the timing does not favor Tessus right there. Trade is at least in. BlameF is going to be the one to meet the anger and rage of MSL. UMP best sim. No head armor. Really does you in right there. This is looking like an OpTic round all over it. Actually, as I say that, 7 brings 1 back. So it's a 2v3 situation. Estag still has HP. Let's see what comes of it, though. They need to find some frags quickly. Stavin is the one with the kit, but 12 HP. Attempting a smoke defuse with that kind of health is risky, to say the least. Strong after plant positions from OpTic, and most likely looking at 7 rounds here. So they do manage to scrape together a pretty good T-side, all things considered. Yeah, it could have been better, but 7 rounds on the T-side of Nuke is not something to scoff at.
No, definitely not. And if they win the pistol, obviously, that can set them off on a really good path here on the CT side. Speaking
of being on a good path, Nico, once again, very strong on Mirage in their first matchup, continuing that strong trend here on the T side of Nuke. 19 frags to his name. I think the highest we've seen today was BlameF on 22. Yep. So, not far off, as we see the GG.Bet odds once again favoring OpTic. 1.47 in favor of them winning. Yeah. 2.53 for Heroic.
Yeah, for one of these teams in the tournament, it is the path to Chicago, and you can use that code Chicago on csgo.net to get 30% more of your balance and win some cool new skins, or a chance to win some cool new skins.
Well, and here's a chance at winning a pistol round from Heroic. They're going to barge their way towards ramp. They're actually going to commit down immediately. That's where Tessus finds himself. Starts off with 1 frag as well. Might be able to find a second one. Instead, it's going to be Nico to chime in from window. And the combination work here from OpTic is great. All that's left is NATO. Did find the first frag, but bomb's been dropped downstairs. There's a bunch of CT players that are very angry and looking for him.
Yeah, we did say that OpTic, if they win the pistol, that'll start the second half off well, but this is an excellent way to win the pistol, only losing 1 player. Yet again, it is even here on the server. And this is where OpTic Gaming will want to make sure that they don't get upset by a force of Heroic, which is coming through. That's a tag on the scout. We've seen this have so much impact earlier. But I have to say, good hold from Tessus as well, alongside Nico, getting those double kills between them. Yeah. Really held off this approach.
Tessus playing ramp the way it should be done against spots out. A lot of information doesn't fall for, I guess, the temptation of staying up there on ramp, finding it alone. Having the multiple angle action going up against the ramp attack with Nico does them well. That's a tag once again with the Scout. Been able to do quite a bit of damage with that so far in this game. Fortunate for him, though, there's not really a whole lot of CTs opening themselves up. He's going to have to worry about MSL. Not aware of it. Not in time, at least. And actually, Tess has gone down towards ramp, so didn't fall for the temptation of taking the duel initially, but
that's
second round. It's not. But Stavin has made his way under heaven, at least.
Doesn't matter. Well, refresh is up towards the top of heaven. Looks below, and Stown is finished. So it will be a 3v3 as Nido Safix walks over the Deagle headshot onto Nico. So under a minute to play with. Heroic, if they are to upset OpTic here again in this kind of run, they've done it already. They've got to find it in 43 seconds. So just waiting for another mistake. Hopefully OpTic will come towards them, but at some point Heroic realize they have to go into a bomb site, and that's where OpTic will be waiting for them.
Seems like nobody from OpTic is downstairs as it is right now. Actually, I say that, but we have made a rotation from MSL. Wait from Secret. He's going to be down in time as well. If he stays alive, he nets a couple of kills.
Oh.
He's done all he needs to do. Bomb gets dropped as well. A lot of damage down onto BlameF. And as he well, goes for an equalizer. Gets picked off by Refresh.
Yeah, he did all he needed to do there at MSL, finding those 2 kills. And at that point, Heroic's chances were in the bin. So 9-8. Yeah, so OpTic did have a bit of a struggle in that last one, but they get it done. And so this should be double figures for them. And again, this is their map pick. You can see it in the top right if you're wondering and just tuned in as to which maps will be played. It will be OpTic picking Nuke here. Heroic have decided to go with Overpass, and if we need it, it'll be Mirage as the decider, which we've already seen both of these teams win on in their opening matches, a best of 1.
Now then, OpTic looking for double figures, as you said. Config with a auto shotty as the inner rush comes in. It's going to be very viable, unless Refresh kills everyone. Nico's even going to get in on the action, so Config with the alligator not getting anything. It was in the right place, just having teammates.
Just having Refresh there.
Yeah, just kind of ruins his day. It's too solid of an aim. Yeah. There we go. Refresh cleaning things up there, nicely done. Even hitting hitting Config, just par for the course, I suppose. Let's get into the next round. First buy round here of the second half. Krieg out on S-Tag. AKs all around on the 4 others. No op. We'll see. Config deciding to stick with the auto shotgun. Again, playing that inner bomb side obviously lends itself pretty well to shotguns. We've seen that pretty much since the inception of CSGO. For now, though, a bit of a standstill on Heroic's end. Hoping to find someone straying off on an aggressive move on the side of OpTic. It's not to be the case yet. Tess has just set up. This is about as safe as you can play a ramp. Seeing if you can see any sort of a body crossing in towards radio room. It's going to drop a smoke and then potentially fall off. As the wall of smokes come out once again. And here we go. Pressure towards ramp start. So we'll see how Tessus plays this. Drops the smoke. He's actually going to stick around as well. As they come through, he makes quick work of at least 1. He does have a refresh with him.
Well, BlimF might have just pulled this back. He still has a chance here, but the shotgun of Config will say no. So 4 in a row here for OpTic. Good call towards outside as well there from MSL. And 11-8 here. OpTic definitely looking much, much better. I'd say the odds in GG.Bet would definitely start to favor them even more at this point.
You'd imagine. So already being pretty favored, as they had a pretty strong T side, all things considered. Now going up against a partial buy on the side of Heroic, it should be 12th round on the board for OpTic, and they might be just looking to close this out as quickly as possible.
Yeah, this should not really, on paper, have a whole lot of damage output for Heroic. But we'll see. They still have utility. They're bound to have some sort of plan that will get them close and personal, and what they have to do is really just create chaos. And the good old Game of Thrones saying, chaos is a ladder, of course. So.
Just curious to see. This is kind of how you know you have a newer generation of players coming into this. Stavin with a Mac 10 instead of a Deagle.
I love to see that, though. I think the Mac 10 is such a good weapon.
Oh, it really is.
The only problem is OpTic have actually bought head armor, so...
Does lessen the impact of it a smidge. I'm still, again, playing around the smokes here. Wall of smoke. He's got all the information in the world, knows that nobody's coming outside. There's no reason for them to make any sort of rotation, and that's pretty much all you want out of that position. He's done a thorough job as well, clearing around the red box. There we go. Molotovs dropping on the inner bomb site. Heroic trying to make their way in. It's not looking pretty.
It's not been great. BlimF going to try and make something happen, but still need the 1 kill. And OpTic, they're definitely steamrolling Heroic at the minute. They've only managed to win 2 rounds on the T side, which is...
No, not even that.
No, they haven't won a single thing, actually.
Yeah, they closed out the first half
it was
losing
in
2 rounds.
Yeah.
So this has been quite the run from OpTic Gaming so far. I guess this is what... Yeah, no, this is kind of what happens, I guess, when you have a team that specializes in Nuke. They will have a fairly strong CT side. And, I mean, it's not like their T side was bad by any means. It just could have been a little bit better by their own standards. They're looking pretty solid as it stands right now.
Well, only 4 away.
Oh, That's a good nade as well. SS able to find one. Does open up an avenue towards ramp room, but they've already made the appropriate rotations on the side of OpTic downstairs.
Yeah.
Just if you're able to stem the tide of a ramp rush, that is more or less what you need to do. Even if you can't survive, again, as long as Heroic gets slowed down, they can't push with that momentum down into the lower bomb site. You've kind of done everything you need to do, as we see MSL is posted up in window room.
We see him have impact so far on the CT side. This might just be another time for him to shine, although we have seen him miss a couple of the easy shots. This definitely is one of those. If he is to walk into his crosshair, and there's the headshot. Esatag, he'll be finished off. Luckily, the glass does not stop him from getting that kill. We've seen too often the AWP sort of get stopped by glass. And
Exactly.
How the hell does that happen?
Just make sure you get the headshot. All is good. Config finds Blame F. NATO Safix alone. And a whole lot of work to be done. Question is if anyone's going to be expecting him to come up through heaven. Well, with that flash, it's going to give it away at least. But nicely done there. Combines to find Config. Got to get a bomb plant down as well.
Well, nice idea on the flash buying, but doesn't quite get through. And Nika will take him away. So, yet another round on the board for OpTic. A little bit closer that time from Heroic, but I'm starting to see a world in which this does not end very well for Heroic, as it's been 6 in a row for OpTic. 13-8 is the score. And this will be another buy coming in for Heroic at least. They will get the rifles in play. Only problem is, again, not having the AWP to challenge that of MSL, so it's going to be Esatag on the SG.
Well, yeah, it's true what you say. It seems like the writing's on the wall here for Heroic. So not quite out of it yet, but they need to get rounds on the board and need to string a couple of them together as well in order to, well, keep them honest. Money's starting to look pretty healthy on the CT side. So initial slow response as before as well from Heroic on the T side. They've tried their luck actually quite a few times towards ramp here with mixed success. Worked really nicely in the pistol round, but or at least initially in terms of getting out, but kind of been bogged down. At least they found an opening frag.
MSL, he's just pushing all the way through, and again, ships in the night. Freiburg and MSL, they cross past each other. No idea. And that is going to be the kill from Refresh onto Esatag. Freiburg has arrived to the party, but MSL, he's coming in from behind. Oh, they've looked for it. Freiburg has spotted him. MSL manages to get that kill quick enough, but Nero Safix is there for the frag. And so Tessus is into the 1v3. The new player to OpTic's ranks has been definitely showing good performance at times. But this time, he'll just have to save on over because Heroic finally have managed to find themselves a round win.
He did scrape one back there. That's good to see. Much needed for the game as well. OpTic on their end, though, shouldn't have too much of an issue buying up and then following around, especially if Tessus is able to stay alive. Heroic, though. Question is if they can, if they look at this as a reliable way of getting openings and everything, taking the duel versus config from Squeaky there to find the opening. If that's going to be something that OpTic are more aware of going forward. Nonetheless, though, finally a ninth round on the board for Heroic. They might make it to double figures. And not too long. Blame F, 14 HP. It's going to be absolutely fine.
It's kind of like just crossing his fingers there. So that's the thing with Nuke. It's kind of like hard to realize where you're safe.
Yeah, and it's weird again because it's a vertical map, right? So bomb radius works very different, or you have to deal with it in a very different way than what you have to do on any other map outside of Vertigo. Nonetheless, they do all survive. So 3 players in the bag for Heroic. So go into the next round. Can drop weaponry around to get a full buy in there. Still going to be a full buy on the side of OpTic as well, though. But this is their last stand in that sense, at least for the time being, if they were to lose it. So it could spur a bit of a run from the T side. We'll see, though. Things have been talked through. Freeze time started ticking down. And into the 25th round we go. No, actually 24th. Math is hard.
It is. Math is probably one of the hardest subjects.
That's why you don't do it live on air.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I just stick to the basic stuff. Like, we've got 5 weapons.
It wasn't even, yeah, it was round 23. Jesus, I'm all over the place.
Yeah, I should have corrected you, but I know again,
math
is hard. So I didn't want to make the wrong decision.
I'll do that for you.
I've already made a mistake already. That's my one used up. But this could be double figures for Heroic.
That's a hot way of starting it out. MSL trying to get aggressive on ramp, and he's the one sole defender until Refresh makes his rotation at least. Coffee down to 9 HP.
Yeah, he's been slapped away from that, dropped to 9 HP. Perhaps will think twice about re-peeking, but that is good. Refresh just slightly peeks and takes quite a bit of damage from Stown. Og, the newly updated Og, does get the kill onto Freiburg, so it's back into the 4v4. Still, you'd say the damage is still favoring Heroic here. They've basically killed Config. He's still alive though, just slightly.
He's going to be able to find a kill. Instead, it's going to be Tessus to start us off. That's bomb dropped into the upper bomb site as well. And kind of forces the hand of Heroic.
Oh. Config is just going to hide behind the back of the A bomb site, in behind the silo. He does get one onto Esatag. BlameF able to get one as well. And now Stown and BlameF left alone into the clutch for Heroic. The bomb has been planted. OpTic need to realize that it's on the lower bomb site, but BlameF, he's flanking towards inner. You have Stown down towards the bottom of the bomb site. There's the kill. Config has been finished off, and Refresh is down in the B bomb site. He'll realize where the bomb is. Smokes off the single door. Players just walking into the crosshair, but the smoke has covered him off. Straight through. There's the kill from Refresh. Is BlameF quick enough? He has to get there. He's not even sticking in the bomb. And BlameF, he realizes this. Refresh taps yet again, swinging the doors wide. Nice headshot from BlameF. He makes it happen. It'll be double figures for Heroic, but again, another scary round there, as it came incredibly close.
It really did. But Heroic do manage to get to double figures, and that's going to be an eco to follow for OpTic here. So that run we needed to see out of Heroic might be happening as well.
It was looking pretty dire for them in the second half, but already after 2 round wins, you can start to see a world in which the comeback really does happen. Because if on paper, they should win this one, right, as well. So 13-11, you're only 2 rounds away from equalizing. They win that gun run, that's it, really is on. Freiburg going for the early pick towards outside, not really too successful. It's actually BlameF who gets first blood in round number 24.
Refresh though with the return. USP being accurate.
Oh, shots just coming everywhere. At this point, Esatag is just waiting. Biding his time with the bomb. Just over a minute left. Tess has actually been boosted up, and they also have MSL in the corners, so if Heroic are to walk in towards ramp room, that'll be very difficult to deal with. At least 1 kill should go in favor of OpTic. Maybe a little bit more. Another Freiburg. There's the kill onto Nico. Man advantage back for the Heroic side. With 45 seconds left, Heroic are just making sure that they don't put a foot wrong. They can't afford to slip this one up, because this is the round that will get them back into contention, really, for the map still. So, Refresh, just be in hand, being caught by Stown, and that's all on MSL and Tessus.
Bomb's going to go down at the hands of Esatag. Tessus still boosted up, refusing to vacate the premises. He's not going to find a whole lot of luck there. Just listening intently for the footsteps. I guess considering he has light Kevlar, might as well want to hold on to that. He needs to kind of skip away from the corner, though, towards the very back of ramp to not take any sort of damage. But yeah, 11th round on the board for Heroic. We're going to see a buy coming in from OpTic Gaming, though, most likely.
I think at this point he's just kind of hoping someone walks in towards him.
Yeah.
Won't happen, though.
There's going to head back over towards the backside of the ramp. Doesn't actually go far enough back, so now he can't get a cheap head killer. It's a bit of a minor mistake, I suppose. But then again, he is going up against AKs and whatnot. Not a whole lot of SMGs being in play at this stage, so he might just skip head armor altogether. It's fair enough. Here we have it. Nico really just carrying the way forward for OpTic Gaming. 27 frags.
You think he's the real Nico? That's always the sort of misconception. A lot of people who aren't really familiar with all the teams always join in and think he's moved the OpTic.
Move to OpTic for this?
Exactly.
Well, it doesn't really help that there's a old school Danish player as well with the name of Nico.
Yeah.
Had a pretty prominent past as well.
Quite a common name used in CS, isn't it?
It really
it's like
is.
Dennis, we have 2 of those. Do we have more than 2 Dennis?
Not ones that are relevant, I suppose. Got the Sprout one and
we got
the
the
NIP one, or XNIP one.
Yeah, the big one, not Dennis going to big. Big Dennis.
Oh yeah, the big Dennis. No, there's too much overlap. Well, there's I guess some overlap. There's you have it every now and again with some semi-pro players, basically just straight up copying the name of older pro players.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's Spawn, I mean, Scream is a pretty classic example.
Yeah.
Exact same way of stylizing it as the Swedish Scream. But then again, I feel like that's so far removed for so many people that obviously they wouldn't have had the pleasure of watching a Swedish Scream play. Well, we get the pleasure of watching a Swede and Freiburg play as he's moving his way into Garage. And so far there's been no contact really on the side of OpTic Gaming. Just giving free reign over towards Yard, and we'll see what Freiburg can actually do with this. If he's able to make his way up to Heaven completely uncontested and unnoticed, then that could just be the end of the round right there. Oh, and it looks like it might happen as well. Refreshes, distracted. Down he goes. That's the upper bomb site lost. Emerson's going to be quick to main. Finds one, no smoke, and second kill as well.
No way.
You can't deny the bomb plant.
I was kind of thinking he was going to go for the wall bind there. That would have been incredible.
Would have been something. Freiburg does have a smoke that he can use. Also has a Molotov. Smoke comes down a little bit late. Still wants to hold on to that Molotov, though, just for safekeeping and an after plant.
Oh, Tessus. He's wrapped around the back.
Oh,
he spotted someone as well. That's going to be the kill. Tessus looking back up towards Heaven. Freiburg's only on 9 HP. He has the Molotov.
Does he know how to place it?
Oh, this is the problem. And also MSL's got a smoke, so this might not really matter too much. There goes the Molotov.
Is it going to be done in time?
It
didn't even burn him.
It didn't even burn him at all.
Okay, that is 100% bugged.
What?
That is 100% a bug.
I think it might have landed in between the
part of the floor that lifts it up a little bit from the actual nuke floor.
That is weird.
Would it be possible to get that in a replay potentially? That would be interesting to say. But Tessus was literally standing in flames. I actually think he dropped the defuse because he saw flames under him.
Perhaps it would have extended to him at some point.
I think it was extended to him. Like I'm pretty sure it was on him.
That
looked like
a really weird.
I mean, Molotovs are weird in terms of how they react in a lot of ways. Sometimes they go up like boxes and objects. Sometimes they don't. I mean, there was a point in time earlier on in the older versions of Nuke where you could stand on the lower bomb site and you can kind of jam a Molotov into the ceiling railings, and it would actually burn the upper floor. So if somebody tried to plant in a default, you could jam one of the Molotovs into the railings. It would burn people where they couldn't actually see the Molotov. You couldn't smoke it out either.
It's dirty.
A lot of funky stuff over the years with Molotovs.
Yeah, well, Tessus, the unburnt. Okay, we're full of Game of Thrones references in this one. It's going to be Freiburg taking away Nico. It will be the man advantage on the T side, and MSL is looking for some more towards Sequence Stairs. He's burning the Molotov this time. He'll have to fall away. And it's towards the bottom of the bomb site. 55 seconds. Heroic with the man advantage still. OpTic, obviously, after winning one, would love to just get map point. They want to get this over and done with, but Heroic, they're moving in. It's another kill, all falling apart, but Refresh still alive, still kicking towards upper. He will get 2 kills. He does eventually fall off the rafters, and so Native, Safix, and Freiburg, it's on to them. As Tessus is back over towards ramp with an AK-47. 30 seconds left. Tessus, I don't know if he's going to go for this. He's on B. Perhaps he thinks that Heroic have gone that way, or perhaps he just wants to hang on to the AK, because obviously their money's not in an excellent position here on OpTic, but I'd still love to see him attempt this.
Could be a pretty big swing round for them to get back into it. I mean, obviously securing that point at that stage, it does seem like he wants to try. Send kit, smoke. Definitely within an opportunity. It's going to be hard to dig out the two Heroics players out of their positions as it stands right now, though.
Well, one does show himself. Testis knows the player inside of the side. Ticks away Nito Safix. That's all on Freiburg, just dancing, toying with his prey. And it is the legend taking down the new players, and that'll be 12 on the board for Heroic.
Yeah, in addition to that, with it being, well, just straight up back and forth of a round, means OpTic, they're out of money.
It's as close to a full reset as we get nowadays.
Yeah, it really is. And for OpTic Gaming, they might have a bit of a rough time. I mean, even with an eco here, a partial investment, they're not going to get too much money. Yeah, exactly. They're actually committing into this. I guess they do have a fair few rounds to play with.
Yeah.
A couple ones. Maybe they feel okay letting Heroic get to a potential 14-14. Maybe they just want to win out right now. Config.
That is certainly a way to do it. Well.
That's a response.
Good one tap there from Blairmath, I have to say. Very clean indeed. I guess if you see someone there, generally it's only their head that's showing, so you don't really have to risk a whole lot of bullets. Just take the one tap.
Just always looks cooler, though.
It looks much cooler. But sometimes when you get the... You don't get the headshot, you're like, the only thing I can see was his head.
Well, speaking of headshots, MSL has found one.
Oh, nearly a second as well. He will eventually pick that up as he's doing a lot of damage through the smoke. Gets into the 2v2, and the Mark 7 from Refresh is being pulled over as well.
The question is if Refresh wants to rotate down with the Max 7 to try to close the gap, or if he wants to wait it out a little bit, see if he can pick up a weapon outside by T-Red. Just be patient, though, regardless of what he opts to do. And as it stands right now, nobody really from OpTic is downstairs. So, without Heroic knowing it, safe passage. And they have all the utility in the world, really, to be able to get a safe bomb plant down here. We'll see how they go about it. They're going to be really thorough about it. Let's see the classic setup. One covers, one pulls out a smoke and a Molotov. Flash for Dark Corner as well. Now they'll smoke to cover the bomb planter as well. Oh, that was one way of dealing with it. I'm a little bit uncertain as to, because you could hear the door opening. You could still see Heroic wanting to Molotov off top ramp. Instead of dealing with it, then NATO drops down into the other door that was yet to be opened.
Well,
a little bit, yeah.
They do get map point. So
off a half investment. Well, yeah. I say half investment. It was pretty full, but definitely not a buy that should amount to a round. But they make it work. MSL, 2 frags. Deagle creating chaos outside, and Heroic kind of stumbling over their own feet down at the lower bomb site.
Yeah. I think Heroic, they've shown they can lose a couple of those buys as well. Sometimes, they don't look as clear-cut in the runs they should win, which is definitely something you're going to have to improve upon.
Most definitely, but the tempo here is going to catch Nico off guard. NATO, quick as a... Well, fast as you like, yeah.
Well, it's going to be Tessis peeking on him from Heaven Spray, trying to transfer on the 2 players, and that's what you were talking about. Not picking the 1 player, and he doesn't get a single kill. So MSL has to make it happen. It has to be the 1v2 clutch if he wants to end Nuke here. If not, Heroic will be right back into things, and overtime could be on the cards as MSL starts to make his way through. He knows there's a player towards old vents. The Molotov goes in. That'll force him into the open. The Molotov will get the kill. Looking for another MSL. It's Essetag taking the fight, and he will win it. 15-13. Heroic are still alive. And like you said, the tempo, the change in pace there from Heroic gets them in towards the A bomb site and sends OpTic right back to the eco yet again.
Damn. I don't think we're going to see a half investment or something like that from OpTic this time around. They don't really have the rounds to play with in the same sense. Refresh might opt in for a deagle or something like that. I actually had a Max 7 in the round before. That could still work. But, man, it's really getting close. And even with Heroic winning that round, it's not like they're sitting on a bunch of money. 1 player surviving, that's Essetag. You can see 3.7, 3.5, 3.2, and whatnot around across the board for Heroic. So skimping a bit on utility, and in the case of NATO Safix, skimping on head armor, which could potentially prove to be lethal. Going up against pistols and whatnot, just needs one good connection from one of the CTs to down him.
Yeah, that's always a scary thing, right? You decide to invest all this into an AK and then just get one tap by USP.
Yeah. So they're going to up the tempo once more. Down the vent, Stavin goes. It's a pretty good safe call, honestly, when you know you're going up against more or less a bare eco.
Yeah, you just try and sort of pinch as much map control as possible early. And if there's anybody in your way, you just roll over them.
Yeah. This is a big difference from what OpTic did after winning their pistol, right? They're going up against the Force by all of a sudden you're meeting a lot more resistance in terms of utility and whatnot. Knowing that you're not going to run into anything of that sort, vent dives become pretty safe. As you can see, creates a lot of space for your team as well. Stavin already grabbing ramp control, so you don't need to waste utility on smoking it off, Molotoving it off in order to get a bomb plant down. And Heroic, they're going to get the 14th off of this, 14 off of this. Stavin deals with the refresh without too much issue. Nico, however, proving to be a little bit too much.
Yeah, well, that's a good thing about USP. Even though it's the default pistol, you can still have a lot of impact. It's always the scary part. Even though you're going up against 5 USPs, there's always a chance if they stack together, they get a couple of kills. There's always sort of thing in the back of your head that you could lose that. But luckily, Heroic don't, and they get themselves their 14. It could be overtime, or it could be heartbreak. 16-14, or overtime.
Well, time will tell. Has kind of gone the route that we would have expected it, though. Two Danish teams going up against each other. It's bound to be close, and close it is. Going to see all the 30 rounds.
Especially on a map like Nuke as well. It's just like, it's just that map that always goes to overtime with Danish teams.
Does feel like equally matched. Danes just seem to have a special affinity for the map, and I mean, I can understand why. They seem to have so much success on it.
Yeah, I think it's obviously like in the Danish scene, if everybody's playing the map, like the best teams are playing the map, they'll sort of start to trickle that down towards the lower teams as well. And if all the teams in the Danish region are playing Nuke, they go up playing it, they learn how to play it on their way up to the top, then generally it's always going to be a decent map for them all.
That's how it is.
Whereas somewhere like, I don't know, is there a region that suck really badly on Nuke?
I feel like
the Asian region maybe?
Yeah, they don't really attempt to play Nuke. I guess MVP has started playing it, or they have been playing it for a while, and they're somewhat decent on it.
Just missed a couple of smokes towards outside.
Yeah,
Things
that
like
that kind of a thing that is, well, scary to watch. I want to say if it was the last Miters, where they played their decider on Nuke, ended up in OT, eventually losing, that kind of a thing.
Yeah, some other EU teams are not great on Nuke. I mean, we've seen the likes of, I think it was No Chance during the minor qualifiers. Like they had the outside smoked terribly.
I mean, they had a pretty rough time versus Liquid as well in the Cologne Invitational.
Yeah.
But again, it's an extremely hard map to play if you're not practicing it a lot.
The rotations are the biggest part.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, able to understand how you have to react around the map.
Definitely giving up too much space is going to make this a haven for any sort of T side. Just being able to deal with tempo changes. I mean, we saw Heroic catching off OpTic with one of those. NATO with the quick drop onto main roof. Now, though, we'll see what comes of it, as we do have the last round in here. All utility pretty much gone on the side of OpTic already. 2 smokes left to their name. It's still 30 seconds left to be played. Oh, no. Nico just looking the wrong way at the wrong time. Freiburg's going to pounce on that. Config and Nico down. Refresh doing the best he can with the FAMAS, but it's not going to be enough. And, well, this is very much looking like overtime.
Yeah.
1 player left, and that's Tessus up in heaven. Can even get 1 here.
Yeah, I don't think there's a chance here. It looks like we're going all the way to overtime. We'll get some bonus rounds coming in unless Tessus pulls off an incredible clutch, and it won't happen. He's finished off by Stown, and there it is. The bonus rounds coming up. And Nico, top of the scoreboard here for OpTic. Not much of a disparity between the top 3, really, on the OpTic side, and not much of a disparity at all over on Heroic. Pretty much everyone doing their job.
Yeah, even the ones that had a bit of a slow start on the side of Heroic got into the groove of things eventually. They're going to have to maintain that as well. Have to consider the fact it was, what, 13 to I think it was, for or 13-8.
I think it was 13-8, yeah,
Yep.
because Heroic obviously hadn't won a round in the
pretty
second
significant lead on the end of OpTic Gaming there. To close that out has to be frustrating, especially in the fashion some of those rounds went too.
It is 10K overtime. I think that's an important point to
Yeah.
make. Economy generally isn't really much of a factor in overtime, but when it's 10K overtime, it is.
It becomes rough to. It sounds wild, right? Like, how do you deal with you know, how do you go broke with 10K as a CT, right? But
Yeah.
it's pretty expensive as you see the updated odds from GG.Bet.
The map
OpTic's
winner.
still favored to win the map here at 1.62. But, I mean, if we're going to take a recent form going into it, just talking recent within this game even, Heroic fighting back tooth and nail. Kind of would have expected it to be a little bit closer, honestly.
It's pretty crazy that I actually think the Heroic are looking slightly better at the minute.
Yeah, I mean, they've battled back into it. Once they started finding openings on their T side, they started grabbing rounds as well. They just had a really, really slow start.
Yeah.
The benefit for them right now, obviously they're going to go up against a fully equipped CT side. Fair enough. But they've actually been able to find some footing on their T side, and they get to continue on with that leading into the overtime. It's a very different story when if you've had struggles on your T side, initially play CT to start off OT, then you go back to the T side. It's like, don't really know what was working on our initial T side. Like, is that still going to be a thing? Now they're still in the groove of how they're playing and how things are going. So
Yeah, that's a good point.
that's solid at least.
Especially since it was so long ago. Like,
Yeah, it's starting to become a while ago.
well, there's a lot of chit-chat going on in the chat. But you in the chat can go over to csgo.net and use the code Chicago to get 30% more on the balance and also win some cool new skins, or the chance to win some. And you can do that while we're at the break. Currently waiting for this to go, but there's only 9 seconds, so you've got to go quick because this one's about to start. Bonus rounds are coming through. We've just seen, you know, Refresh and Testers, the only players picking up kits. It's plenty. The rest of them just saving as much money as possible because, again, 10K overtime certainly can become a bit of a problem when it comes to the economy in the late stages. A Molotov has just smacked Nico up the face, so that's not going to be the most pleasant of things, but he still will get the kill on this down. Man advantage there on the CT side. And Heroic, they start off overtime with a man deficit.
Not ideal. Stabbin, obviously, but pretty impactful player for them so far. MSL's going to follow up. Freiberg down. Heroic in an awkward position. This attack just a little bit late to catch Refresh and actually goes back for the re-aggression. That's not going to work out for you. BlameF finds one. MSL's in the right spot at the right time to find a trade as well. Native Safix left to his own devices. Might be able to drop that into Vent. Does so silently too. Has the bomb on his back. We'll see if he can do anything with this. Answer is no. Tessus ready and waiting. Solid first round here of the overtime from OpTic Gaming. Just picking Heroic apart before they even get close to the bomb site. And we saw that towards the end of the CT half. Obviously, that might be down to lacking weaponry, lacking utility on the side of OpTic once money starts running low. That Heroic got a lot of real estate out in yard. Freiberg able to move around freely as he wanted into garage, under heaven, up into heaven, all kinds of jazz. It's it becomes really difficult to play CT side if you give up that much space. Again, Freiberg's going to move out. Smokes comes down. Deal with the Molotov that's been put down. There is a gap, but too late to spot Freiberg. Question now if he's going to venture down eventually or actually head back in towards garage like we saw him do a couple of rounds ago.
Well, MSL just patiently waiting with the AWP towards a ramp. It's his hold here, waiting just some player to walk into his crosser, but Heroic are not going to be granting him that opportunity. In fact, just still sitting inside of lobby. It looks like they want to hit the inner bomb site. And with a minute left on the clock, eventually they will have to do so. Refresh, this angle is going to be so difficult to hold. Want to get rid of, shall I say, on the Heroic side. So he's actually got to fall off it and smoke it off. At this point, OpTic are starting to probably wonder what's going on. They don't have a whole lot of info. And eventually Heroic will start to make their push.
Tez is rotated down. That's off the back of Freiberger initially making his way towards Secret. They're just walking into the upper bomb side.
This is just like taking their time, and they will get the kills as well, so that makes it relatively easily. And there goes Nico. So the run happens for Heroic, and literally nothing there for OpTic whatsoever. MSL barely alive, gets away, and
third-degree burns.
Yeah, exactly, completely melted. He's got no shoes on.
That was, I mean, obviously a kick all out of rush. It's the slowest upper take I've seen in quite some time. Just like inching their way in there. Still works out.
It didn't even have that sort of like build up
to it. Yeah, no.
Boom. It was just, so it was just walking to the side.
Who knew Counter-Strike was a turn-based game?
Exactly.
Oh,
OpTic
yes,
forgot to
saw
take
something. Yeah, spotted Tesses, so they know where he is. Oh, 50-50 goes the wrong way. But he's going to have a hard time surviving here. There you go. And I think if you're Heroic, you're perfectly fine giving that up. Even though it doesn't really matter too much. You mentioned the fact that 10K can be a bit of an issue on the CT sides in OT. And that is very true, unless you win the first round of OT. Then you're usually set, unless you're really heavy on the op usage. And OpTic doing so, they have secured themselves an economy, so they will have a full buy here. The question is, though, if it's going to be the T side or the CT side to prevail, as we near the first or end of the first half of OT. Freiberg in familiar territory out in the yard.
If you're new to the concept of overtime, it's first to win by 4, and so we're looking for the magic number of 19 at this moment in time. And Esatag has started things off well, as Heroic have got that first kill to play with. They walk into this second half of overtime with a 17-16 lead. That gives them 2 chances to take it over the line. Again, this is the map pick of OpTic, so obviously they would have loved to have already won this map. Ooh, MSL actually spots a player there, but obviously they've got away. He will give the info to his teammates that they're probably trying to leave ramp room, and MSL is going on a bit of a hunt. He's pushing right through. You'll realize they completely left the ramp area open. They've fallen all the way back into his lobby, and MSL's just pushed all the way through. He might just get a kill here. They have no idea that he's there, but they've already crossed inside of the site. Refresh has got the kill on the Esatag. They've pushed a little bit further. It's all under this push. They need to get onto the bomb site. As there's the kills. Nido Safix, MSL finally will strike from behind. They need to check this upper position. The other's the player there. Can they deal with him? The answer is no. Refresh and Nico, they will finish it off. And that is 17-16 at the half here in the first half of overtime, favoring OpTic Gaming, who are not only 2 away from taking this map.
Oh, damn. Curious, I lost count of how many times Refresh played that position over, above Hot, but seemingly not very easy to deal with for Heroic. And again, as you said, just getting bogged down so heavily. MSL finding, even if it's only 1 frag on that rotation or that backstab, perfectly fine, because it sends everything out of whack for Heroic. They need to all of a sudden focus on a completely new angle that creates space for the 2 remaining bomb site defenders. That's exactly what they needed. Now the question is, can they capitalize off of it? T side. Wasn't smooth necessarily from OpTic, but they did get quite a few rounds. Now they need to replicate that.
So OpTic, something that definitely looked good for them was their onside executes. They definitely made it secret quite often without losing too many players. I'm sure they'll hope to see more of the same. Molotov comes in, that looks to clear the secret stairs. Unless the target's holding, there's no smoke yet for that cross. Eventually they will throw it, and that should allow safe passage. Refresh. Oh no, he's right behind one of them. There's the kill on the Freiberg. MSL and Config, it seems in tandem, finding the rest. So it's on Nido Safix and Stown into a 2v5. It's not looking too solid here for Heroic, and Stown again trying to spray. All the kills come in from OpTic, map point. All 5 players stay alive.
The domino effect right there. Really well done by OpTic. You can see the setup as well they had. They were delaying the last smoke again. That kind of gives you a good tell as to, you know, well, either you have to deal with an op from CT spawn or under window, that kind of thing. And you could see that MSL had gone on the inner side of the smoke, specifically just to take that peek versus BlameF as soon as he fires off into the smoke. No, I mean, might have been Esatag actually with the op. Excuse me. But yeah. It's very well thought out and Refresh with a quick backstab. Everything working out beautifully for OpTic there. Solidly executed.
almost feels as though Heroic have kind of just fallen off the face of the earth in the last couple of rounds. They looked good in the first half of overtime, but OpTic just put a stop to that very quickly.
It's also pretty big for OpTic to win the first round of the half as well. As you can see, already the money is running a bit low for Heroic. And even if they were to win this, it could potentially spell disaster buying up in the next one. Estec is in the right spot here to deal with anyone coming down from Secret. Oh, straight up just going to lose the duel versus MSL. He's finding so many openings here now. The second one as well. All right, then. I think the leader of OpTic just wants to be done with this. He wants to go to overpass.
Yeah, MSL is just bored of Nuke. He wants this to end. BlimmF will pick up Refresh. Although MSL looks like he's done enough, but he wants more. Nito Safik steps in with a kill on the config, and it's a 3v3. MSL can't quite get another. So it's on to Tessus to make the trade, and he makes it happen. 2v2, Stown and BlimmF looking for a way back into the bomb site, although Nico and Tessus just need to hold it off. Grid tap from Tessus, looking for another, tapping away, and it's 19-16 here for OpTic Gaming. They get it done in their map pick, and a long and drawn-out win.
Long and drawn out indeed, but we do eventually find a winner. OpTic closing out their own map pick, and I guess they kind of lived up to what we saw from DreamHack with them. Yes, they pick Nuke, and yes, they feel comfortable on it. And you can definitely see it's well practiced. They have solid strategies and everything, but it gets a little bit dicey here and there. So they do have to take it to overtime, but in the OT, very dominant showing from OpTic. Yeah,
OpTic had to scrape out their map win, but they get it under their belt. Not going to do the same on overpass. It is going to be Heroic's map pick coming up after the break. Make sure you stay with us.